I just spent $30 on this box full of completely random computer parts. And the problem is, I have no idea what's actually inside, or what kind of trouble I just bought myself into. This might be one of the biggest gambles I've taken so far. And yeah, there's a very real chance I end up regretting this. I actually bought this package late last year, back when I was casually hunting for content ideas. That's when I stumbled across someone on Facebook Marketplace selling a whole pile of PC parts for just $30. And you know how it goes. My brain immediately went into risk-taking mode. So now the big question is, did I just score an insane deal? Or did I pay 30 bucks for a box of e-waste? Let's find out. Honestly, this looks like the seller was doing a year-end cleanup of old e-waste. Some of these parts look really old, like they haven't been touched in years. What worries me even more is the packaging. Barely any protection at all, which immediately makes me nervous about their condition. Inside the box, we've got 2 motherboards, 1 GPU, and a power supply. That's everything. Alright, let's stop guessing and go through each part one by one to see what kind of shape they're really in. I was really curious about the fate of these motherboards, so I picked one at random to test first. Oh, this one's green.
Yeah, boy.
I like to think green means good luck, but yeah, not this time. Right away, you can see problems along the bottom edge of the board. The USB jacks are slightly bent, and there's a capacitor nearby that looks dented and deformed. That usually means it took a pretty hard hit at some point. On top of that, there's no CMOS battery, and the chipset heatsink is missing one of its mounting pins. So cooling definitely isn't what it used to be. I checked the CPU socket next, and surprisingly, it actually looks clean. No bent or broken pins, which means it was probably protected decently. For anyone wondering, this is an LG H87 motherboard, socket LGA 1150. Before testing it, I bent the I/O pins back a bit to make sure nothing was touching and shorting out. And for safety, I'm using a cheap CPU, because testing sketchy boards with expensive CPU is how you learn expensive lessons. Alright, moment of truth. Power on. Okay, CPU fan spins. That's good. The CPU is warming up, also good. But no keyboard lights, no signal. I figured the RAM slots might just be dirty, so I cleaned them, moved the RAM to another slot, and tried again. Same result. I tested every RAM slot. Nothing. At that point, I called it. No post, no output, no signs of life beyond the fan spin. Unfortunate, but not heartbreaking. When you buy mystery hardware like this, losses are part of the game. Let's move on to the next part. Oh my god, this motherboard actually came with a CPU. And not just any CPU. It looks pretty modern. Yep, it's an i5 10400F. If this thing worked, it would have been a massive win. This chip still goes for around $70 on the used market. The motherboard it came with is a Gigabyte B460 Gaming. Visually, honestly, it doesn't look bad at all. So yeah, hopes were officially up. Alright, let's plug it in and see how far my luck goes. First, power on, nothing. No fan spin, no reaction. Dead silent. At that point, I'm thinking the motherboard might be the main issue, so I pulled the CPU out to swap in another one. And then, oh no, the socket pins are bent. Not just bent, some of them are straight up broken. This isn't a few pins out of place. This is terminal. End-stage motherboard disease. Zero chance of recovery. So yeah, goodbye to that unlucky board. Next step, test the CPU itself. I grab another known good motherboard, drop the i5 in, power on. Fan spin. CPU heats up, but still, no post, no display, no signs of life. Just to be absolutely sure, I try a third motherboard. Same result. And right about here, the regret kicks in. That feeling where you realize you didn't buy cheap hardware, you bought future e-waste. At this point, all I've really accomplished is adding more junk to my parts pile and killing my optimism along the way. Alright, time to try my luck one more time. This time with the power supply. The moment I picked it up, it felt surprisingly heavy. The entire casing is solid metal, though you can clearly see signs of rust all over it. It's a Huntkey unit, rated somewhere between 400 and 500 watts. So here's the classic test. I find the green wire and a black wire on the 24-pin connector, bridge them together, and no way. The power supply spins up. It's alive. Honestly, that felt kind of unreal. After all the dead parts so far, just having one component actually work already feels like a win. At this point, I'll take any good news I can get.
Nice.
Alright, I'll put the power supply aside for now and go hunt for something bigger. And here we go. The main character of today, a Gigabyte GTX 1660 Super, 6 gigabytes. But the moment I picked it up, my excitement dropped a bit, because there was a note taped directly onto the GPU that said, fail and unstable. Yeah, that's not exactly reassuring. At that point, I knew this wasn't going to be a perfect deal, more like a high-risk bargain. Still, I had to know what kind of broken we were dealing with, so I plug it in and hit the power button. First boot, the GPU fans spin, but no display. Come on, give me something. I switch to a different display output, and oh wow, it posts, but before I can celebrate, the screen goes black again. Just long enough to mess with my emotions. At this point, I decide to do the basics. Clean the display ports, clean the PCIe contacts, reseat the card, and reboot. And this time, it actually stays on. Now the big question, is it stable or is it just pretending? There's only one way to find out. Time to fire up FurMark and see how long this thing can survive. Oh shit. About 2 minutes into testing, the card just hard crashed. Right after the screen went black, the fan suddenly screamed like something was very wrong. At first, I thought it was overheating, but the numbers didn't back that up. GPU temp was around 72 degrees Celsius. Hotspot peaked at 85 degrees Celsius. Totally normal territory for a GPU underload. So yeah, heat wasn't the culprit here. That got me thinking, this feels way more like a power delivery issue. Something on the GPU side just can't handle load. Because here's the weird part. After a reboot, the display came back like nothing happened. So I pushed it again. I fired up something properly heavy, Cyberpunk 2077. And sure enough, almost exactly 2 minutes in, the screen dropped again. Same behavior, same crash. At this point, it's pretty clear the card can boot, can display, can start a workload, but the moment it's under sustained load, it gives up. Not overheating, not drivers. Just instability at the hardware level. I did some digging online and honestly, this looks like a power stability issue under load. Most likely the GPU's VRM isn't delivering clean power anymore, or it just can't stay stable once the card starts pulling serious wattage. I looked into a few possible fixes, and one option that kept coming up was undervolting. Basically lowering the GPU's voltage. The goal here isn't performance loss, but reducing power draw and stress, so the card can stay stable under load while keeping most of its performance intact. Undervolting this card is actually pretty simple. First, I checked the card's boost clock. In this case, it's 1830 MHz. Then I opened MSI Afterburner, went into the voltage/frequency curve editor, and found the point where the GPU hits 1830 MHz. On my card, that clock speed was sitting at around 875 millivolts. From there, I dropped the voltage by roughly 10%, down to about 787 millivolts, with the goal of keeping the same 1830 MHz boost clock but using less power. After that, I hit Shift plus Enter to lock 1830 MHz across all higher voltage points, click the check mark, and save the profile. So I fired up FurMark to stress test it, and honestly, I was trying not to get my hopes up. But then, 1 minute passed, 2 minutes, 3 minutes in, and the system was still running fine. No black screen, no crash. At that point, I couldn't hide my excitement. It really felt like that small tweak actually saved the card. Next, I moved on to real games. I tested a few graphically heavy AAA titles. Unfortunately, power draw readings were kind of broken. The software just wouldn't report them properly. What I did notice, though, was this. At stock settings, the card tried to boost up to around 1920 MHz, and that's where it would usually crash. After I capped it closer to 1800 MHz with lower voltage, power consumption dropped, temp stayed cooler, and suddenly everything became way more stable. No more signal loss, no random black screens. To be safe, I tested a few more games back to back, and the results were consistent. It just kept going. Sure, performance took a small hit compared to stock, but honestly, for a card that was labeled fail and unstable, this is still a huge win in my book. As for the power supply, even though it does turn on and run the system, I'm not calling it safe just yet. It definitely needs more long-term testing. For now, though, it's holding up fine under heavy load, which is a good sign. At this point, I'm genuinely happy. Hopefully these two treasures keep working reliably so I can enjoy them for a while. If anything goes wrong down the line, I'll make sure to update you guys. Alright, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.